that, and the individual gloves would be marked with the initials GK, GK, GK. Why did the government stop branding its supplies, its stores? And you'll find that these things are supplied. And if you go to county governments, you go where you'll find that there is a data showing that these materials have been procured, they have been supplied from KEMSA, have done what, but they are not in hospitals. Where are they? They're in private pharmacies. So even these vaccines, I've no doubt that they could have come in and then have gone into the private hands, and so the government's mechanisms are not there. I'm sure if you want to vaccinate your child, you go to a private hospital, you'll get the vaccines there, but they are not in government
Absolutely.
hospitals.
Yes,
Why are
Senator, that
government
is the
stores no
problem.
longer branded? The
Senator,
vials, why are they
unanisikia?
not branded? So that you can know somebody's using a vial
Senge,
that is from the
mnanisikia?
government of Kenya.
Hannah interrupting him. He's talking.
Yes.
Continue, Senator. Sorry. The speaker was
Yeah. So
speaking.
we need to agitate that government stores must be branded. The school equipment scheme, you remember it? Why did it collapse? Why? What happened to him? Of us never had to buy a book for the entire time we went to school, up to and including secondary school. To A level, we never bought a book. You could only buy a book if you wanted extra reading, like some of us used to do. But the books were always there. So this thing of saying that the market forces should take over this country is again a problem we have. We must restore the primacy of political action in the Kenyan space. The Kenyan state must not just be a tax collector. It must be an effective service provider. It must provide health. It must provide education. It must provide transport. And it must provide those essentials. So, when the government just becomes a tax collector, and where it wants to provide a service, it creates a mechanism for its owners and the leeches to then steal from the public, like the subsidized fertilizer. Look at subsidy programs all over the world in serious countries. Go to India where there are heavy subsidies. India, the subsidies work because they give out vouchers. You don't have to begin importing fertilizer as the government of Kenya and storing it. You simply intervene on the market by having a database of farmers, knowing the needs of each farmer, and giving the farmer vouchers equivalent to their needs. Then the farmer goes to the ordinary store. If the fertilizer is 7,000, and you have subsidizing it to go for 2,000, you have a voucher of the remaining 5,000. You give the person a voucher of 5,000, you take your fertilizer, you pay the 2,000. The shopkeeper will go to the government and redeem his voucher. He's paid the 5,000. That way you avoid the government having to import things, having to store things, having to do all these funny things that we have. The things are there. You come here and we mess up everything. It's like if I came to your house and I want to answer the call of nature and I'm from the village, I'm used to traveling a kilometer to go to the toilet, and you tell me, no, just go to that room, help yourself. Then I help myself and I come back, I say, wow, this is a miracle. Today I've been able to answer the call of nature within a house. Then when I go home, I want also to build a house that is self-contained. Then I go home, yes, and I build a self-contained house, but I choose to locate the toilet in the living room. What am I doing? It will not be functional. I've gotten the design completely wrong. So one of the big problems, again, we have in this country is a design problem. We take noble ideas and fail them by designing the implementation in a wrong way. So they fail. We allow these interlopers. We allow these cartels and what have you. So on the question of vaccines, I think that's a question of that failure to brand government stores. Vaccines are bought and they disappear into private hands. The vaccines are available in the private sector. They are not available in the public sector. The private sector is a market sector making profit out of our misery and what have you. And very few of us can afford it. And so what happens? The majority of the people go without essential services. Article 26 on the right to life is meaningless if a child cannot be vaccinated at birth. It's a total violation of the rights of that child. The rights of children in the constitution are also violated. So it's a very, very painful area. And I think maybe that you raise it, maybe within this act that's being made, we may need to make it a criminal offense for a child, for a facility that provides maternity services not to have these vaccines. So that's how they answer that. If I can go to the next. And doing a bad job of it because they look at the law through the keyhole and not through, they don't go to the balcony and look at the law as a whole. So when a judge says that the elections are expensive, what does he have in mind? He has a picture in mind. He doesn't have a digital election that may not even require mobilizing people to go to polling stations. He doesn't. He doesn't look at the fact that a recall can be done through platforms, and the IBC needs to have a digital register. The biometrics they get should be biometrics that can be utilized effectively, not using the KIMS kit like a mouse to activate an idle computer for you to now begin doing what you want to do. The IBC should be able to give us a KIMS kit whereby voting is very easy and simple. You don't have to be spending billions of shillings on an election. So if that is done, if we can get the architecture in the electoral process correct, and we get a digital platform from election that's accurate, simple, verifiable, and whatever. If our elections are simple, why should they be expensive? So when the judge writes that the elections are expensive, has he taken time, or she taken time, to look at the whole constitution and see that what is the architecture of what kind of electoral system that the constitution requires? So our judges go far and try to make pronouncements, try to be managers, and they do that in extreme ignorance of the law. And they end up coming up with decisions that are just laughable. Like I mentioned that in the first Raila petition, technology fails. Technology is based on also physics. How does it fail? The fact is that technology can be compromised by three things. One, the Court of Care pronounces that technology fails. That's arrant nonsense. So we need to get back